Hey guys, welcome to mathspays.com. Today we're looking at the area of a trapezium. So the first thing I'm going to look at is what is a trapezium, or what makes the shape a trapezium. So to start off with, a trapezium, it is a four-sided shape. That's really important, okay, a four-sided shape. In other words, we can call this a quadrilateral, okay. And so a trapezium has to have a minimum, I'm going to put it here, of at least one pair of parallel sides. Okay, so if we're looking for a really basic definition of a trapezium, we could say that it's a quadrilateral with one pair of parallel sides. So what are parallel sides? Well, if we look at these sides here, for example, we extend those. Parallel sides are lines that will never meet. Okay, they will never meet, and they're denoted by doing a little sort of arrow on each of those lines. Now, if we go back to other shapes, because we could have a trapezium that looks like this, right? Because we have one pair of sides that are sort of parallel, but in fact we could go further and say, well, hold on, we've also got two pairs. Therefore, that could be called what we refer to as a parallelogram. Okay, we could go in further by drawing a 90-degree angle, therefore making that a rectangle. So these are what we refer to as properties. Okay, now the reason I go down to the rectangle is because hopefully you know how to find the area of a rectangle. Area of a rectangle, we've done this before, is the base times the height. Okay, so the base to the bottom length times that perpendicular height there. So what would we do with a trapezium? Well, let's say, for example, that we know that the height of that trapezium, okay, because you'll need to be told that, let's say it's 5 centimeters, and let's say we've got the base of it is 10 centimeters, but now the top part of it, okay, let's say it's 6 centimeters. So basically what we can call a trapezium, well, it is really a rectangle, it just has uneven sides, right? So what we might want to do is look at the same formula, the area equals the base. So in this case, the base is 10, but also it's 6. So how will we do that? Because they're different. So perhaps maybe we could use that word, the average. Okay, the average. So we're going to look at the average base length. Well, if one is 10 and one is 6, how do you find the average of two numbers? Well, hopefully you remember you add them together and you divide by 2. Okay, in this case that's going to be 16 divided by 2, that equals 8. So we're going to say that this has an average base of 8 centimeters. Okay, and the height is going to be 5 centimeters, which means that the area of my trapezium would be 40 centimeters squared, or 40 square centimeters. Now if we go back to a formula and try and write this, well, how can I talk about these two different sides? Well, we're going to give them letters. We're going to give a little bit of algebra. So we're going to say this is a plus b, and we're going to divide it by 2. That's what we said there, because it's always just two sides. And then we're going to times it by the height, knowing that it's the perpendicular height, and thus introduces the formula for the area of trapezium. Again, it comes back to kind of being like a rectangle, but we find the average of the base and then we times it by the height. Now, you may have done this in class, guys, and go, well, hold on, I've used a different formula. And absolutely, there are a few variations. Probably the most usual variation is half times a plus b times h. Okay, and that is exactly the same thing, because half times these two added together, well, that's the same as doing a plus b over 2. Some of you might have this, you might have seen h over 2 times a plus b, and all they're doing, they're saying, well, instead of doing 1 divided by 2, they're going to put the divided by 2 over this side and say h divided by 2. Alright, so there's any differences, probably a couple of different ways to write those formulas, but for my purpose, I like this formula because you can see that's the average of the base times the height, like a normal rectangle. Okay, I'm going to give you some questions, 2 questions, guys. Now, for most of you, remember that I would like you to write the example out, pause the video, of course, have a go at the question, and then come back and let's see how you've gone. Okay, how'd you go? So first of all, my expectation, okay, is always going to be to write the formula down first of all with these values substituted in. So we know it's going to be a plus b over 2, so 4 plus 10 over 2. That's the average of the base of the rectangle, I guess, or trapezium. I'm going to times that by the perpendicular height. Okay, now of course you may have done this. You may have said area equals half times 6 times 4 plus 10. Okay, that's okay as well. That will all work out. All right, that's my first one that you must have. Now you can chuck that into your calculator to get the answer, or if you want, you can say 4 plus 10 is 14, divided by 2 is 7, 7 times 6 is 42. But these are the two kind of lines that I would expect to have. That is, first of all, the first mark will be coming from the formula, okay, substitution, and the second mark will then come from the correct answer, of course, with the units squared. Hopefully you got that question right. Okay, last question, guys. Okay, again, pause it, see how you go. Okay, so this is a trapezium because, of course, we have there a nice two parallel sides. There, of course, the sides I'm going to be adding together. So area equals 9 plus 5 divided by 2, and I'm going to times it by the height. The height is 8, and then I'm going to put that in my calculator. 9 plus 5 is 14. 14 divided by 2 is 7. 7 times 8 is 56. So I've got to put my square centimeters there, or centimeters squared, and that's my answer. And often I like to put a little box around my answer. You get your first mark for your substitution, you get your second mark for your answer. And the only difficulties I often see people have is sometimes they get a little bit muddled up about which numbers to add together, or the A and the B, and just look to see the sides that are opposite each other, the sides are parallel. You want to make sure you can see those little arrows there. If they're not, you can put them on yourself. They're going to be the two sides that you're going to add together. Okay, look guys, that is the area of a trapezium. I hope that made a little bit of sense to you. Just before I go, I'm going to say, when there is a little right angle in the diagram like that, some people like to chop it up into a rectangle and a triangle, and look, that's no problems at all, but I really would like you to start trying to get used to using this trapezium rule. It is better and it works for all trapeziums, not just some. Any questions, guys, drop me an email. Otherwise, have yourselves an awesome day.